Hey everybody, we're live, Facebook Live in from Columbia and Hastings, downtown Eastside. You're listening to Talk Recovery Radio. We got Alicia, she's our personal story. There's Darren. So how much time we got left on the song?
22 seconds.
22 seconds, and you're going live.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, no swear words.
Okay.
Microphones are on. And welcome back to Talk Recovery Radio. You're listening to us live on 100.5 FM, CFRO, Co-op Radio. If you like Talk Recovery, you can go to coopradio.org and make a donation and a reference to Talk Recovery. And Talk Recovery airs live every Thursday. And we're powered by New West Recovery, which is Last Door and Westminster House. Thanks Last Door and Westminster House for letting this show be possible. So we just finished talking to TJ Woodward about conscious recovery. For those of you that are listening to us on the radio, that was a great conversation. Thank you, TJ. And you can go to our Facebook page to learn more about his new book called Conscious Recovery. Always love having conversations about spirituality. Oh, Darren's showing it. There it is. Where is it? There it is. Conscious Recovery. So we decided a while ago that we would add a personal story twist to the show and bring people on air that's from the recovery community to talk to us about what it was like, what it's like now, what's your hopes, dreams, and goals, and so forth. And thanks to everybody that's been on the show so far. And we've got Alicia on the show today. Thank you,
guys.
Alicia. Hi. Hello. So, Alicia, we are going to talk a little bit about some inspiration and some hope for some listeners out there. A little bit about your personal story, and we really appreciate you being on the air with us. So, for those of us that don't know you, can you let us know a little bit of, what's it been like for you in your recovery journey? I understand you were clean for a little while.
Yeah, I got clean actually on December 4th, 2013. And I went through the Westminster Recovery House for Women. I managed to stay clean and super involved in the community, sat on many different committees, just kind of dove straight, feet first into recovery. And then I moved away, and slowly with work and everything like that, I started to pull back. And I did that one thing that everybody said, which was to stop going to the meetings and to stop doing the basics. And then, it took about a month of not doing that stuff, and I had a relapse, and it was really, really hard.
So you were in the middle of recovery, doing great. So we brought you on the show. We had talked a little bit, and you said, I'm brand new coming back, and should I be on the show? And I thought, with the overdose crisis going on right now, and everybody's talking about relapse and the shame in relapse, and people not feeling welcomed in the community and recovery, and that disconnect of the insanity part of being clean and then relapsing. And everybody on the planet's relapsed. I don't know anyone that hasn't. Even if I've always said, when I was really young, I wasn't going to use tomorrow, but I always did. And, then I went to meetings and treatment and all that, and the amount of clean time between those periods were longer, but there's been, thousands of relapse. So here you are, you're clean, you're relapsed. We really wanted to talk to you about what it was like when that happened. What did you go through? So some moms that might be listening, they can get a better understanding of what it's like to relapse and to come back. What is that like?
It was really, really hard, actually. But I definitely know what you're talking about the shame and everything like that, because I felt that all, and it was as soon as I relapsed, everything changed. It was like everything I had learned was gone completely.
Okay.
And then as I started to use more and more, I felt instantly that whole powerlessness come back so fast. I didn't expect it to be that fast, And I can remember, I'm trying to get home from work, and I'm telling myself, I'm going right home. I'm not driving to the drug dealer's house. And as I'm saying that, I'm literally driving there. But the whole time I'm telling myself I'm not actually going there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I would be there. And I couldn't understand why. And it was just all that powerlessness all over again. And then to have such a big to play such a part in the recovery community in New West, and then to Relapse, I think for me a huge thing was kind of like everything. I felt like everything I had said and everyone who I had helped previously, I felt like all of that kind of went away and it had no value anymore. You know.
So now, is that a thought process or is that reality?
It's a total thought process. Okay. I know now, and you know, recently I had reached out over Facebook, just for some support for some women, and I'm talking to my boyfriend. And I'm just like, nobody is gonna like reply to my post on Facebook. Like, this is so embarrassing. And it turned out that so many women had replied that it was overwhelming the amount of support I had. So it's completely in my head, you know.
Yeah. So you're in this place of, you know, what do I do to get clean again? Do I get clean again? Am I able to get clean again? Do I go to treatment again? Do I just go to meetings again? Yeah. I mean, the just trying to figure it out is a lot. Yeah. And then you have everyone's opinions.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, some of them are awesome, and some of them, you know, are coming from wherever they're coming from. So, what's that process been like for you? Have you created like, you know, if I don't stop using, I will go to treatment? Like, what are some of the things you've
definitely
created?
Well, so many people were telling me different things, you know, and then I had people in recovery who were telling me things, and then, you know, I had my mom and my sister telling me things, but, you know, my mom and my sister don't really understand how recovery works and treatment and everything like that, so it was like, I could listen to them, but everything that they were telling me that I thought was a good idea, I would run it past people who were in the program. And definitely, it was just like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? I was like, 90 meetings in 90 days. Wrecked that completely within like the first week.
Within the first 2 days.
You know, didn't even make
it. I did 2 meetings in a 90 days. Why did you not want to?
Why did I not want to go to 90 and 90?
Yeah.
It's because I got high.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just, I didn't want to be at a meeting high. You know?
We're laughing, it's not funny, but it is, you know? It's,
you always have to look at things like brighter, you know? It felt really crazy while I was in it, and it was so much harder to get clean this time around than it was the first time. Because the first time I had lost everything. I was about to be homeless, I had no job, no friends, like I was literally, like I had nothing. So when I got clean the first time, it was really easy for me. And because it was all brand new and all fresh, and I had never done it before, you know? So I was so much more willing to listen to the people. And then this time around, I still had my job, still had a house, you know, still had my car. I had everything, right? And it was a lot harder to push myself.
Consequences.
The consequences weren't as great. And I think that kind of kept me sick for a little bit longer, you know? And I would tell myself I wanted to get clean, and I finally hit a bottom. Like, I hadn't hit that right away, and I finally hit a bottom where I wasn't working because, like, I'm a freelancer, so I wasn't picking up jobs. I slept all day. I felt so disgusting and so spiritually, like, not available. Like, I wasn't there, and I didn't like it. And I was like, all right, well, got a new sponsor who has all of the things I want. She's right in the middle of recovery with a lot of women, and I started going to meetings again, and I just, you know, I made some things, just like you said, like, if I can't stay clean for this 30 days, I'm going to go back to treatment. You know, there are some things.
So you created a bit of a boundary list. And if this happens, and then I'll make commitments to move. I've known you for a while. We've had lots of fun in recovery. Yeah. We've dressed up in some crazy outfits. We've made a lot of noise, and you know, we've inspired other people to do recovery because of some of the fun activities that you and I have been involved in. So I'm glad that you said that it was all in your head, that really, you know, the recovery people love recovery people, even when they're not in recovery, and our reach is always there, and we always want to help people and so forth. So there's people dying right now, and the drugs out there are not very safe to do. You know, since you're recently coming back and so forth, maybe we can just talk a little bit of that. Did that play in your mind at all, or do you feel invincible, or are you like, oh, that will never happen to me? Because a lot of people are asking, why are people using when so many people are dying?
Well, I definitely thought it would happen to me, so I set up a safety net around when I was using. Like, I would never use alone.
Okay.
And it did, like, you know, even though like I had OD'd and died a few times, like it's such an obsession that you can't get out of your head. And I think before you use, you also tell yourself, like, okay, like I'm just gonna use a little bit, like it's gonna be fine this time. And you know what? I've got this person here, we've got a naloxone kit. If we die, hopefully we can come back, right? And there were some things I thought I would think of when I relapsed that I didn't. Like I thought I would think of my niece. I would thought about how I got this beautiful relationship with my mom now, and all that was gone. And all I cared about was getting high.
That's really, and probably an eye-opener for a lot of people that aren't, aware. Just, our thought process of when we're using, it's just we will push aside everything and just, move forward and go ahead. Like you say, I'm not going to my dealer's house, but I end up there somehow. Yeah. I'm not going to die, but, I'm going. If I do overdose, there's an naloxone kit, which is great that that's there. Do you ever feel that access to treatment for you is too hard to do, and oh god, to get into treatment, it's everything that's involved in getting into treatment and all that?
You know what? My first time around, it was really hard. I won't lie, it was really hard. I had been on the waiting list for almost a month to get into a detox center, and I OD'd during that time, and luckily, it was lucky for me, like the people that I was around kind of just locked me up and said, like you are going to stay here until you go to treatment or to detox. And so when I went into detox, it was another month-long wait to get into treatment. And I just feel like...
Does that ever play in the back of your mind? It's like, I'm not going through that again.
Not so much the time, but actually I think what plays in my mind about treatment is having to look at myself like full on and like fight those demons, because that's what treatment is. You go to, just like he had said before, the gentleman on the show, you go to a safe place, you fight these demons, and you have support, and that's exactly what treatment is. And I think it's more that plays more than how hard it is to get into treatment. And I think also too, like I have a lot of connections in recovery now that I don't think I would wait that long. Yeah. So
you came with, I drove you down here. We're downtown Eastside. There's I think about 7 people using drugs right in front of the studio door, and addictions all the way around. How does that make you feel?
I think like today I was fine with it. I walked right in here, didn't feel weird at all. But there have been times, because I'm so new clean, that I have, had those experiences where there was just the other day, like my drug dealer called me, and I was just like, oh my god, like I need to call him back, I need to call him back right away.
Do you feel the same way about a bill collector?
Oh yeah, of course. No. I don't feel the same about a bill collector, and I don't know. It was so crazy. I'm still so crazy. I'm so new, right?
So there's somebody today for sure, if not thousands of people across North America today that are in your shoes. They had clean time, they've relapsed, and there's that bit. It happened to me. I remember. Letting people would be like, oh, you can't go back to meetings, they're going to judge you. And I was just like, yeah, they are. And, they weren't. They were all hugging me and welcoming me back and so forth. And I really played the tape, because I wanted to use that negative story to be the reason why I'm not going back into recovery. People are judging me. It's like people in clubs judge me and I still went back, So to some person that might be going through what you have been going through, what do you say to them? They should go to a meeting tonight, or they should reach out to somebody in recovery, or they don't feel like it because their fear of judgment and so forth. What do you say to them?
Just exactly what you said. It is all in your head completely, and just to take that first step to reach out, and you are just going to get a wave of people reaching back for you, It's just breaking past that initial scaredness, and taking that first step. Once you get past that, it's so much easier. But I would just tell them it's in your head.
It's easier for you now?
Yeah, so much easier.
So much, good. So you were part of the show, listening in to TJ Woodward. We did a lot of conversations about spirituality, and the book is called Conscious Recovery. How were you spiritually before your relapse, and what does that have to do with you maybe in this round of your recovery journey?
well, spiritually, I was completely disconnected. So what had happened was I started painting for the movie sets. It's a very long, tedious job. I was working anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, 6 to 7 days a week.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. And I slowly stopped going to meetings. And then slowly things started to trickle. Like, I stopped listening to what my sponsor had to say. I stopped calling her for help. And then the next thing I know, I'm dating this guy who's new clean, like chasing him down to like crack shacks, banging on doors, trying to find him, you know, in my spare time. And it's just like, if I had just listened to my sponsor, you know, and the people around me, but I was like, no, you guys just don't want me to date him, like, you want him, like, my head started playing all these crazy things,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no spiritual connection at all. Absolutely none.
So would it be called self-will?
I would completely, self-will.
And that's one thing is you know, once you get to a certain part of your recovery, the ego kicks in. It's like, I know better, I know more. Yeah, you know, I've heard that all before, and this time it will be the magic word, different.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually never is. I mean, I really haven't seen it successfully happen in other people's lives when they take their will back. So what are some of the, so you're going to do a full set of steps again?
Yeah, definitely.
What is one of the, you know, without getting too deep into what you're going to work on, what's some of the things that you need to work on to help you get back into the recovery world? Which you already are, by the way.
Yeah. I think just this new sponsor and me really connect. You know, she's got what I want right now, and my old sponsor was amazing, but what she had that I wanted was so much different at that time when I was almost 4 years clean. Mm-hmm. So now I think just humbling myself and getting the courage to come back to the meetings slowly. Like, I am going to meetings, but they're not from New West where I came from. I'm doing a lot of Coquitlam AA and just kind of staying out where I live right now. So it'll definitely be like a set of steps. I definitely ruined, I wouldn't say ruined, but I've damaged the relationship with my mom and my sister. Like, the trust is gone, you know, and I want to rebuild that. That's going to be my main focus. And I think just throughout recovery, everything will kind of change what I want to do. Right now, my biggest thing is the steps, getting to meetings, and hanging out with some women. That
is sounds like a really good plan, which hopefully, you know, people listening that are kind of in the same boat will take as a suggestion too. You know, I want to talk about your work schedule, you know, that you were doing 7 days a week and so forth. I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes I work a lot, and sometimes I work a lot. You know, yes, I do. You know, but I definitely like, you know, what do you call it? Justify it because like I'm around people in recovery. I just found so many reasons to justify who I am and what I do and all that kind of stuff. You know, here you are painting, and I'm sure some people. I mean, was the money that important?
It wasn't.
No, because I got a couple sponsees. You know, one works a lot, and I know a lot of, especially with guys that are new in recovery. Once they start making some money, it's like money, and what is that with us when we've been given such a great opportunity to live in serenity? We're like, okay, that was great. I'm going to go work 7 days a week for 10 hours a day.
You know what? I think what happens is you start becoming addicted to the money, and you work the hours to get the money. And in my head, I kind of always told myself, you know, like, this is just for a little bit, and once the show is over, I'm gonna take so much time off, I'm gonna go to so many meetings, I'm gonna do all this, like, you know. And I think it was just, I just kept telling myself that things were gonna be different when the show was gonna be over, and then I didn't make it through the show, unfortunately.
Well, we're talking on Talk Recovery Radio, and we've got Alicia. She's doing our personal story. We really appreciate you being on the air and being so honest, and welcome back. And,
Thank you.
You know, people love people. And, you know, one of the things I worked on when I was, you know, new to this whole recovery scene is I really had a big resentment towards people. I really thought people hated people, and like everyone's out to get everybody, and there's just no trust out there, and don't trust people like as, you know, a collective energy of negative. And it was, I mean, I was also high the whole time, so I mean, really, I was the one people couldn't trust. And then I did some work around it, and I realized, you know, people are pretty cool. Like, people really want to help people, and people are really out there. I mean, I look at it even downtown Eastside. A lot of insanity down here, but there's a lot of people helping a lot of people down here, whatever their belief system on how they help. It's still help, right? So, you know, if you're watching or you're listening, definitely remember, people are there and they are available for help 24/7, whether it's, you know, a total stranger you're going to meet in a meeting or somebody that you're going to walk into in a harm reduction clinic. People are out there and they want the best for you. And, you know, when I relapsed many years ago, I had, you know, that sick feeling too, where it's like I couldn't go, and I didn't even want to go to my home group. Like, I hated my home group. I just thought, you know, I couldn't do it. And then I realized it's like, my home group's pretty cool, and they like me, and they're my friends, and, you know, I'm the one that left, and I need to do the work to get back into it and stuff. And I'm glad that you're doing the work, because I want to still have fun with you during Pride.
Yeah, definitely.
And all that kind of stuff. We're going to have a great Clean, Sober, and Proud again this year, and you deserve to be there.
Yeah,
you
thank you so much.
You deserve to be part of it, and you deserve to be part of that energy, just like everyone else is. So we're going to end the show. It's time to go on to our last song, and Darren is behind the camera, but he's also in charge of the DJ.
I do it all around here.
You do it all, yes.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. We're passing it on. Hey, I made it on Facebook Live. What's up? I'm not going to say, you know, if you're having to come back or you're in that position, like, to not... there's nothing to be ashamed of, because it seems preconceived. You were going to feel shame, but just come back anyway. Yeah. You know, don't be alone, and I appreciate you sharing that part, Alicia. People were writing messages as I was filming. You know, thanks for sharing. It's a big deal that we talk about this topic. So thanks for coming down today. That's the show. That's Talk Recovery. Listen to us again next week, and watch us again next week on Facebook Live. We're going to end with a song called Freedom by Amos Lee.
Boom.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.